is féidir anála hóirt. We can breathe a little and relax. So, a híisi, a phríomhreithimh, Ari, bhuail cóirla an Stát, bhuail an Oireachtas, ambassadóri, ceannairí aglista, agus ina úsle fad, chomh maith le an céad ara an túisceart, Michelle Smith, agus na ceannairí eile ó gach cairn den túisceart. Go bhhatlam 100 míle fáilte a chur raibh mo chlann freisin atá anseo, má bhirtmhaach, má arcéile, má grifúracha, má greitháracha, hastal siad ó cean an domhan, ó Atlanta, Georgia, ó Canada, ó Toronto, agus míle buíochas go chuir sibh an dúis sin orthu héin chun a bheith lom inniu. I stand before you humbly and proudly as the 10th President of this beautiful country. The people have spoken and have given their President a powerful mandate to articulate their vision for a new republic. A republic worthy of its name, where everyone is valued and diversity is cherished, where sustainable solutions are urgently implemented, and where a home is a fundamental human right. The change that led to this joyful day began with a small group of elected representatives and volunteers facing what appeared to be insurmountable challenges. We were led to believe that it was too great a leap, that our ideas were too far out, too left, at odds with the prevailing narrative. In shared conversations all over the country, however, it became evident that the dominant narrative did not reflect or represent people's values and concerns. Time and time again, people spoke of how it served to silence, to other, to label, to exclude, and to stifle critical thinking. Along with that, however, along with meaningful engagement, we saw the emergence of hope. We saw the emergence of joy, along with the courage and determination of people to use their voices to shape a country that we can be proud of. As President of Ireland, I will ensure that all voices are represented, heard, and valued, and promote a public discourse that nourishes inclusivity, tolerance, and active citizenship. Previous presidents faced different challenges reflecting the dominant issues of the day. In 1990, Mary Robinson, and I want to welcome Mary Robinson and her husband Nick, when Mary was elected, the parameters of geopolitics were shifting following the fall of the Berlin Wall the previous year and the dissolution of the Soviet Union, while at home, Ireland was undergoing its own seismic changes, laying the foundation for a modern and inclusive society. In 1997, 1 year before the Good Friday Agreement, the former President Mary McAleese, and again I want to welcome the former President and her husband Nick, when she was elected in the midst of the ongoing peace process, a landmark event in shaping a shared vision for the future of Ireland. In 2011, Michael D. Higgins assumed office, and again I want to pay tribute to his courage and his work. Michael D. assumed office as a global financial collapse shook Ireland and the world. The reverberations of that crisis continue to impact upon and shape people's lives and our economy. Now in 2025, as I assume the privilege of office, we face existential threat of climate change and the threat of ongoing wars. Both, of course, are inextricably linked. As I speak, I am acutely conscious of the 165 million people currently forcibly displaced from their homes and countries due to war, famine, and climate change. We cannot turn back the clock nor close our eyes to these realities. These are the challenges of our times, and our actions or inaction will determine the world our children and grandchildren will inherit. It is both an individual and a collective challenge, and one which obliges us to reflect on the way we live and interact with our world and with each other. It is also the responsibility of those entrusted with public office to come together, both nationally and internationally, to lead and to create the conditions for a sustainable existence on our planet. It is significant that today is Remembrance Day, the 11th of the 11th, 2025. It is significant. It's significant on so many levels, but it gives us the opportunity to pause and to reflect on the horrors of war in a world where, unfortunately, we have all become witnesses to ongoing wars and genocide. Given our history, the normalization of war and genocide has never been and will never be acceptable to us. As a sovereign, independent nation with a long and cherished tradition of neutrality and an uninterrupted record of peacekeeping since 1958, Ireland is particularly well placed to lead and articulate alternative diplomatic solutions to conflict and war. Indeed, our experience of colonization and resistance, of a catastrophic man-made famine and forced immigration, gives us a lived understanding of dispossession, hunger, and war, and a mandate for Ireland to lead. We can and should take real pride in the success of the Good Friday Agreement, knowing that this is recognised far and wide and is a model for the peaceful resolution of conflict. We also know that this journey of peace and reconciliation was the result of meticulous and methodical work over a long period of time, and this work continues to this day. I look forward to paying my first official visit to the North and meeting with people from all communities and celebrating the rich and heritage and traditions of all who live there. I am particularly conscious of Article 3 of the Constitution, which sets out in detail the firm wish of the Irish people, the Irish nation, to have a united Ireland, albeit with the conditions set out very clearly in that article consent. As President, I will foster an inclusive and open dialogue across the island in a manner that highlights and recognises our similarities and respects our differences. I want to acknowledge our large and growing diaspora. There is hardly a family on this island that does not have a personal experience of migration. On every continent, our immigrants have put their ingenuity and hard work at the service of new homelands. Yet, they have kept their love of Ireland and its culture deep in their hearts. I hope over the next 7 years that there will be many opportunities for me to celebrate with them and share our experiences. I have never believed more in the spirit of this country. Having travelled the length and breadth of the island, I have witnessed it in every county, in every corner of Ireland. I've heard it in the music, the literature, and the dance of our people, in the deep tradition of solidarity and decency that continues to be the dominant force behind our people. I have felt it in the quiet dignity and stoicism of those who simply keep going despite the very real challenges that they face. I sibse muintir na tíre, cos muintir na tíre, a cosúorm, agus mé fud na tíre, a spraig mé agus a spraig mé hÉireann le linn an achtas. Sibse a hui agus a héin in glech le aspi seirbhísí agus riachtanas gach lá beo aspi nar ceart a bheith fós an I tír atá có sever. Spraig sibh mé le bhfuair nuachtacht agus bhfuair flathúlacht, ag roinnt bhfuair scéalta agus taithí lom go fíl. I sibh se a thug agus thugann misneach dom, misneach a bhainigh mé úsáid as inis, agus a thugaí mé agus mé ag gobar bhuair son mar Uachtarán. Nóir tá táhacht na teanga chun anam agus spirid na tíre a thabhairt chun cinn tuige agam le blianta fada inis. Anam agus spirid a bhí cara fi cos le blianta. Bíag sin den gnó de bhar smach na díoránach nó de bhar neamhard, neamhcúram nó aspa tuiscinaí. Tír gan teanga, tír gan anam, agus is fear sin mar nuair atá a teanga nuachta ní féidir leis an tír nó aon tír a míanta, a luachana nó a spirid a chur in nual. Cuireadh ar teanga orsa ar sinsear, teanga ina bhfuil spirid ar sinsear agus nádúr ar tíre le mothú I ghuiile focail sa dara áit, gan meas nó úmos tugadí. Clucú crí an muinsear nuair a cuireadh stop lo úsáid a bhaint as a teanga féin. Teanga a chuireann mothúcáin agus crí in nual le cuiile ocail. Ach scuilemis le céile inis leis an bhatí sin, ligamis don ghaeilge bláthú. Éistemis lo siúd ar fad nach bhfuil wethe ach aitheantas a bheith tugadómh mar ghaeilgóirí ina tír féin agus in úmóstómh agus dúine. Ghaeilgóirí, ghaeil agus lucht fólama na ghaeilge. Ní sa gúine a labhairt go híseal a bhés an ghaeilge san áras, ach sa céad áit mar theanga oibre agus baisí a labhairt ar fud na tíre go misnúil, go fillete, go ceolmhór, faoi mar atá cliste agam agus mé ar fud na tíre. Agus dar nóí déanfar í a labhairt go húdarásach agus gan éon drogal nuair is gá. Mar ocail scur, to conclude, I believe that the President should be a unifying President. A steady hand, yes, but also a catalyst for change, reflecting our desire for a republic that lives up to its name. I will embrace the role of the President with dignity, determination and courage. And
a number of themes there in that address, that first address from President Connolly. Licumis don Ghaeilge bláthú, an Ghaeilge sa chéad áit san áras, tír gan teanga, tír gan anam. A long section there on her commitment to the Irish language and the importance she's going to give Irish in her presidency. Also on unity in the context of Article 3, the horrors of war on Remembrance Day, a major theme, and Irish neutrality, and the challenge of climate change. But above all, she says the public has inspired her and given her the courage that she will need as President of Ireland.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem.
Thank you. hÉireann, a student of the late Veronica Dunn, mezzo-soprano, singing the national anthem to great applause.
You are invited to remain standing as President Connolly departs St. Patrick's Hall.
And Lieutenant Colonel Brian Carley, Lieutenant Colonel Paul Kelly, accompanying President Connolly and Brian McEnany. Himself a woodwork teacher in his career, and her father, of course, was a carpenter. And one of her younger brothers is involved as well and makes men's Galway hookers.
A hand clasp with her husband, a face clasp from Sabina Higgins. A lot of love in this hall for President Connolly.
And the ADC to the Taoiseach is competent Joseph Glennon. Great warmth and great recognition of her achievements, and she's also acknowledging faces in the crowd, so many of whom, of course, she has invited herself.
And we were wondering, John, what poet President Connolly would quote. It was Seamus Heaney from The Republic of Conscience.